The story of cannibal serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer will forever live as one of the most grisly tales of serial homicide America has ever seen. Now, a new film, The Jeffrey Dahmer Files, takes a closer look at the people who surrounded Dahmer and the impact his murders had on the Milwaukee, Wisconsin communities.
The part of the project that really piqued my interest to start with was just to see how it affected the community around him, 20 plus years later. When events like this happen, tragedies, the media shows up and they're around with very intense concentration for a short period of time. And, after they leave and the focus is shifted elsewhere, the people that had to deal with the issue, are still affected for days, weeks, months, decades, maybe even a lifetime. So I was just really curious how the people around him that had to work on the case and that lived around him, how their lives were changed and sort of how they dealt with the story that we knew from one angle, but I'm sure they knew from a much different angle.
He was born, in other words, in the same way that Adam Lanza was born, with this autistic-like syndrome, Lanza being the one in Newtown, Connecticut. And that, I think, is something that for which there's a hereditary predisposition. It's interesting that his mother was seriously depressed and apparently hospitalized at some point, and was a very peculiar woman, very unmotherly, and ran off with the younger brother and sort of abandoned the family, which was quite a blow, I think, to him.
Is there evidence to back up that claim, that the link between Lanza and Jeffrey Dahmer?
Only in the sense that both of them had, Lanza, in my understanding, was far more, if there are degrees of unsociality or unsociability, Lanza was much more disturbed. He was totally unable to open his mouth and make a communication of any sort toward the end of his life with anybody. It was much more peculiar, whereas Dahmer, as I understand it, was able to, look, he was in the Army a bit. He was dismissed because of alcoholism, but he had some social capacities, although they were meager. Lanza was a much more disturbed individual.